No, I don't think the head coach that I'm looking for exists right now. I'll give you an outline of my head coach.
He might be on FIFA, and that's about it.
I'm the head coach on FIFA.
There you go.
That's me. Put me in charge of this team, and I'll take us places. All right? You're going to love this.
I want to hear it. I'm objective. You're critical.
Anico at the disco.
He's positive. Join the Mixtape 615.
Today? Tomorrow? Yesterday?
It is the dopest supporter group in all of Nashville.
Never. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is the Mixtape 615 podcast, baby, and this is the place to be. If you are a Nashville Soccer Club fan or you're just trying to see what is going on with the boys in gold, we all know there's a lot going on, a lot of uncertainty right now, but we gonna figure it out. I invite you, lock in right now. Yo, it's your boy, Tunji, a.k.a. Young Turtle, the Soccer Face SF Doom, the Big Kahuna, munching on a little tuna sandwich, the DR kid, affectionately known as Steam Papi Yamame, por favor. Yo, this Wednesday, I am not at Southside Kitchen, the pub. Why? Because I'm here, not sipping on my half-off whiskeys. I did just get a paycheck, but I'm trying to give you this news, this NSC news. I'm trying to talk about it with y'all, the people, all right? Also, if you know me, you can find me sipping Mai Tais on beaches in Belize, feeling cool like a summer breeze. The dude walking down Broadway with the cleanest pair of Nikes that you ever did see. The golden boy with the golden voice, Chicago Mike, the Glizzy Gladiator. And once again, this is a Mixtape 615 podcast, baby. Logan, can you tell them who you are? We're going to switch it up a little bit.
Okay, switch it up.
Yeah, we're going to switch it up.
All right, this is Logan, a.k.a. Beermain, a.k.a. Coach Carson, a.k.a. Allegedly, if you know, you know. Austin, sending it down to you, man.
What's up, guys? My name is Austin, aka Wildmain, aka Ginger Snap, aka The Fumblin' Dublin, aka Chicky Parm Parm, aka Red Beard, and I am sipping on some whiskey. I'm doing it in honor of Half Price Whiskey, right? You know, we're still celebrating. We were celebrating at Southside last night with some trivia with some Nashville SC boys. We got some winners. We got some winners on the podcast tonight.
It was myself
and Tunji. Yep, Tunji showing off his hat, his signed hat by some of the players.
Look at this, Honey Mooks.
You got
Dan Lovitz, Brent Kallman, that's Taylor Washington, Big Shaft, and of course, Mr. Joe, who always says no.
There you go,
guys,
baby.
that is why you want to join the Mixtape 615, because we are running this pitch with some trivia with some of these guys. These are opportunities you get if you join on in our supporters group. So you can go to mixtape615.com and join. But we are going to kick off today's podcast with a little match rewind. All right. So this last match, we had a 1-1 draw with Atlanta. I'm calling them little brother now because of how we've handled them these past few matches against, they beat us once in the last 10 matches. So they're not big brother anymore. They're not big brother anymore. Little brother's growing up. But this was Rumba Munthali's first match as our interim coach. So Tunji, just initial reactions. What did you think from the form? What did you think with how he handled his first match, running the show, calling the shots?
Man, I felt like the defense looked a little bit more in sync. I felt like the defense was playing better. I was saying that to the crowd, even though the crowd didn't really seem to care. I'm going to call them out here on the podcast.
That was rough. Man. That was rough.
Yeah, but, I've done a lot of K-Pone in my day. That one was a rough one, man. But that's what happens when the team's not losing. People are less engaged. But I feel like with the changes that are being made, Rumba Munthali, he said that he wanted to open things up, have people be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more daring, and I saw that. I did see a little bit of that in this game. I am still reserving judgment on where this team is going to go for the rest of the season. We're going to talk about that here when we get a little bit deeper into this podcast episode. But overall, I mean, a 1-1 draw against Atlanta in the Castle. on a cicada infested day.
I saw those things flying around. I had to watch it
was
on TV. I saw them flying around the whole time. It was crazy.
It was like landing on people, and like you saw people freaking out in the middle of the stands. I was just like, it's just a cicada. Get over it. Keep cheering. But no, you know huge. What? I don't think we could have. We could have sought the win, but too much was going on with the boys in gold leading up to that game. Getting points is all I could ask.
Yeah, I think it was a good showing from the boys. I liked the shape that we did. We ended up going with the 4-3-3, so kind of going with our staple four in the back that we haven't seen but maybe one time this season with Gary Smith, and you saw the difference. You saw the defense playing more comfortable. I think you saw with having two fullbacks and two center backs. I think that's kind of what Nashville and what the players are actually comfortable with. But ultimately, I thought that we actually controlled a lot of pace. So Logan, what did you think about just Nashville in general when you watched that and the pace that they had on that game?
I mean, it was a little more of what I was used to seeing from Nashville. Let's be real. I mean, not to talk ill of the Gone, but we did a 1-1 draw without Gary there. It kind of shows me he didn't have a lot of influence into the game when it comes to some of that. And so, I mean, it showed it was not a fun game to watch on TV. There wasn't a lot of action going back and forth. There was some tension, but there wasn't a ton of action in front of the net, especially early on, like we would normally see. And so that was a little upsetting for me, just to kind of look at it and go, man, these guys not really fighting hard. I think they're just trying to survive right now. They're trying to get through the kind of craziness of the weekend so that they can really focus towards next week.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I have to butt in because I feel like Gary Smith and his style still, kind of,
influence
what was going on. It'd be crazy for Rumba Munthali to come in and completely switch everything up.
Yeah,
like
I don't disagree with that. So.
Yeah, I think that, like, look, man, the 1-1 draw is just like we're still gonna see a lot of that until we get a new coach. New coach that has a different vision.
Yeah, we'll see a little bit more of that. Hopefully, we get some push, some change, some excitement. Maybe Rumba is the one that actually does start maybe changing a few things. But ultimately, the chances that we did have, I thought we were actually creating really good chances. Sam Surridge had a couple good chances, just didn't finish. And then let's talk about the shot from distance by Hani, again taking shots way outside the box and just putting strikes on net. If not for that very subtle slight deflection by one of Atlanta's defensemen, that's a goal. That's a goal right there.
That was a rip of a shot. It was not expected by, I don't think, anybody. And the fact that a defender was able to react a little bit just to kind of have it thrown off, because goalie was not on pace to get it. And it was just enough to kind of throw it off. But yeah, it was a rip of a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, man. I would have liked it a lot better if it went in the net.
Yeah,
all of us would have. But there were several chances that he should have, could have,
would have, bro.
There were several chances. In fact, wasn't there a point where it was almost like 2 or 3 shots back to back to back, and we just couldn't get it to go in?
So their one goal, if you look at if you got MLS season pass, go back, just watch the recap, not even the full 90, just watch the recap where it just shows the highlights. 85% of those were Nashville SC chances. And so you look at the highlights at what Atlanta was doing. Nashville was controlling them. Even the chances in the final third, none of them became chances on net because Nashville's defense was actually doing what we have known Nashville's defense to do. So I was happy to see them back in that form. But the chances that we had, we were controlling the pace, which is something that we don't normally see when we've got the defense that we're used to seeing. Normally we play that counterattacking, but we had solid defense and control and pace. So Tunji, I mean, when you see a Nashville team with great defense, but also control of the ball, how does that make you feel about the team moving forward?
I'm hopeful, but I've got to keep everything in context, man. I don't know why I'm not as excited about the results from this game. The context that I want to include here is we're talking about an Atlanta United squad who, what did they lost like 3 of their last couple games, their last games in the Benz, their last home matches. All right. This is not an Atlanta United squad I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing a much more aggressive team, a team that's a little bit more on the ball than they were. I think that they came in, and the fact that we didn't lose to them is a great sign. The fact that we played a lot more aggressively, great sign. The fact that we controlled pace, great sign. But had it been anything other than that, it would have been a disaster. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this Atlanta team is not a great, like, whatever's going on with them right now. I don't know if it's their coach, their personnel. It wasn't a great team. I mean, even I can't say his name, Giorgio Giamakis. He's talking about
Giacomakis.
Giacomakis. He's talking about leaving this team because he just doesn't. He's not feeling it over there. So there's obviously a lot of things going wrong. I think the biggest takeaway out of this match is the fact that, hey, we got points against a team that's also struggling like we are.
Yeah.
And we looked like we took maybe a half step forward after letting Gary go. So
at least we had a small this time that was intentional.
I hear this a lot in the Nashville SC community, but I'm just gonna say it here as well. The tiniest of sample sizes with that game. I'm not gonna make too many broad sweeping statements on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you look at like the saves that were made, Joe didn't make any saves. So the one goal that they had was the only shot that was on net. And that's not
normal. Yeah, that's what
I'm saying. The only sustained pressure that they had gave them their only shot on net. So I think that is very hopeful when it comes to, hey, Nashville might be, I know I've said it a couple of times already, but Nashville might be getting back to true form with their defense. The things that we've seen these past few games, I know Charlotte being a little bit of an outlier, but with the Montreal game and then the 2-1 or the 2-0 win that we had, and then this game, I think that we're looking at Nashville starting to get back into form. Hopefully they'll be a little bit more comfortable. But we've got some more things that we need to talk about. Logan, tell us what's coming up next.
Well, up next, we've got a little bit of Mike on the mic. Mike James was able to address the media for the first time after the Gary departure right after this last match. So we're going to take a look at that coming up next.
Hey, Mixtape 615, are you ready for the 2024 season? We want you to join our supporters group. It is the dopest supporters group in all of Nashville. So sign up right now at mixtape615.com and rock your 2024 membership scarf so you can show off and say, we run this pitch. Imagine standing on the field, feeling the energy of the game close up, all of the energy of the stadium. That's a reality for our members. You can get on-field opportunities, plus get access to our tailgates where you'll bond with fellow fans over great food, soccer passion, and don't miss out on our epic away game watch parties. So sign up now, mixtape615.com, and join for the 2024 season.
We're going to talk a little bit about what Mike Jacobs said when it comes to Gary stepping out for milk and cigarettes and not coming back.
Daddy.
One of the quotes that really stood out to me was he said process is how we win and what things we have to do to work hard not to lose. Mm-hmm. Essentially he was saying that the trends that we were seeing, that we've seen over the last like 30 plus games they weren't reversing. It wasn't changing.
Mm-hmm.
So big, huge takeaways from that interview or that press conference that I think answered a lot of the questions. I had a lot of questions when they let it go as why now? What really happened with that conversation with Gary? Austin, what do you think happened? Like, do you think that we've been calling it a departure? That's what the team said, but based off of what Mike Jacobs said in that interview, do you feel like and that quote I just had, do you feel like that was a departure or more of like they gave that man the what is it, a pink slip?
He got his pink slip. Yeah, that was definitely a firing, and I think that it was interesting, like the timing and everything. I know that's something that a lot of people were talking about. Like it was after a win. We've got a match coming up, on Saturday, and all of the timing and everything. I was actually okay with it, and it gave me a little bit more peace of mind, if you will, after that interview. Because if you look at where we are in the season, about a third of the way through, already looking to hire another manager before the season is over. We're not just rolling with the interim throughout the rest of the season. I think timing was right, and hopefully we get the right person in place.
Well, timing is what it is. That's a big thing, right? The timing being right. And one of the reasons that he gave us for, right after the I can't remember who he played, but because the news of Gary Smith being fired just kind of overshadowed everything. I feel like I'm living in a new world, a new reality altogether. But 2 days before the Atlanta United game, they decided to let go of this longtime coach.
Right, from Toronto. Yep.
Yeah, Toronto. That's who it was. All right. He said that he believes that the personnel that we have in place, they can still make something of this season. They still, there's like 20 plus games left in this season. Mike Jacobs says that's the reason why he fired them, because he wanted to give them that opportunity to salvage this season. Logan, do you feel like that's the case? Do you feel like this team that we have in place, Mike Jacobs picked team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
with a new coach. Okay, let me ask you. So, how far do you think they can go?
I mean, here's the thing. He wants another chance at a playoff, right? Playoffs are basically 50-50 in the MLS. You have 9 teams from each side that can make the playoffs. So 18 teams total. You have almost a 66% chance of being able to make the playoffs as a team in general. I don't think Gary was trending up when it came to some of that. So I think what he was doing, he was saying is like, look, I have trust in our boys. I know that they can do it. I just don't think he's the guy to get us there. I think, to
playoffs.
Yeah. I know he's gotten us there several times before.
I don't think that's the case.
But I think he's
trending towards going to playoffs. I don't think that
so
Gary.
Far.
We were, but we were going up. Like we weren't too far off.
His last 3 matches, he had six points in the last 3 matches that Gary had, and then we got another point after. So 7 points in the last 4 games. We were trending up because I think we're sitting at 10th on the table right now.
I think what it was, and we're still outside the playoffs right now. I think what it was is that he truly saw a way to salvage the season, to make a deeper playoff run than we have, because of who he's got there in place as players. I think that we can see us go further, and I think he knows that, and was just getting frustrated by getting out in the first round year after year.
Yeah, I mean, you don't fire Gary Smith in the first quarter of your season when you are, in my opinion, you are trending towards playoffs, but you're trending towards a first round playoff exit. You don't fire Gary Smith just because your goal is to make playoffs. You fire Gary Smith because your goal is, as you said, make that deep run.
Yeah.
To go all the way. You know what I mean?
Because if you look at it, I mean, he made a strong statement. He said, like, with the personnel that we have, he wants the expectation of this club advance in the playoffs and pursue a cup. Like, that was his exact quote.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is sort of, I don't know, man. Well, I'll put it this way, because I don't know personally. I've said it before. You asked me in regular conversation, I've said the same thing. I don't think that this team has the ability to make that deep run. There's people who think differently. I do believe in these guys that they will play their heart out. I just don't know. Now, when you let go of Gary Smith and you have these 20 plus games to look at, look at the team, see how far they make it. I think what you do for yourself, what you do for this team, is you take the Gary Smith blinders off. right? And
Yeah.
now if the trends remain, then it's clear you might have a personnel issue.
Yeah.
Now he has to figure out how to overhaul this squad. And if he can't do it, then it's time for him to hit the same dusty trail that he sent Gary on.
I was about to say the Gary Smith blinders are off, and now all eyes and all attention are on Mike Jacobs.
Yeah,
correct.
So I mean, that's really where we're at, man. I think at this point now it's on Mike Jacobs to choose the right person to achieve what Gary Smith could not achieve with Mike Jacobs' other picks in terms of personnel. Right. We all know.
Well, it wasn't just Gary that went. Also, he made sure that Guppy wasn't there either.
Yeah. Well, Guppy is. I mean, is he part of Gary Smith's staff? Are those two like
I think they've been together for like 12
or?
years. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean,
but
I feel like Guppy.
Let's look at the positives though, because I mean, my other affiliates, and I apologize, Nashville fans. I was a Penguins fan before Nashville had a team. So when it comes to hockey, my affiliate is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Twice they have won a Stanley Cup changing coaches mid-season.
Correct.
So if you get the right person with the right group of guys, then you actually can make a cup run. The only thing I think when they get the right people and when they get all healthy and they get the right shape, the only thing standing in their way is a man named Lionel Messi on their way to a cup, and that's the thing that I'm not sure they're going to get. Yeah, I'm not sure any coach is going to be the right coach to really push Nashville past that because of how they're playing. But hey, they've got some chinks in their armor, and we'll see what happens if we get the right guy to
for sure. I'm gonna say it, and I'll continue to say it. I do not think this team is invincible. I just don't. I think that with the right vision, right, and that's the thing, Garrett, that Mike Jacobs said that he felt that in the beginning of this project, the Nashville SC project, Gary Smith was absolutely the right person, and I agree with that. Yeah. I feel like we all felt it. Maybe the team felt it. Gary's vision just did not match the team's ambition anymore, or the community. Let me put it this way: the community's ambition, because I don't, I demand greatness from Nashville, bro. Always. I feel like the way you came in is the way that you got to keep it, the energy that you got to keep it. And they came in talking, hey, we expect to challenge for the cup. We expect to have that to fill up that trophy room. I don't want a team that's okay with mediocrity. And I don't think that Gary is okay with mediocrity either. But sometimes you just got to know when it's time to let something go, man. And his vision didn't match.
Tunji, you're 100% correct. I said it last time that it wasn't me disliking Gary Smith or anything, but I think that we had just seen everything we were going to see with Gary Smith.
How did Gary always put it? He had all his cards on the table, like, we saw everything we were going to get out of him.
Yeah. I don't know if that's how he put it, but essentially we've come to a crossroads. We as a team have a choice to make, and I think that choice is going to determine where we go in the next 5-7 years, given Nashville's track record. So let's talk about what choices we can make after the break. You guys know I be too lit on Wednesdays at Southside Kitchen Pub, but it does not have to be a Wednesday for you to get too lit with me at any of our away watch parties. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Mixtape615 for all watch party information so you can get in the mix with us, me, Logan, and Ginger Snap. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us for this. We need to talk about coaching. Our lovely local statewide newspaper, the Tennessean, has put out an article on May 21st talking about some of the coaching searches that we've got and some potential candidates that they've picked out. About 15 candidates they picked out that could be a solid option for us when it comes to who will pick up the mantle for Nashville's second GM or Nashville's second, team manager. And I got a question, man. Like, what did y'all think of the list? First off, Tunji, your initial reaction to the list as a whole?
Boo! I hate
I
hate every name on that list. Yeah,
okay. Austin?
None of it was good.
I think there are a couple good options. There's one in particular that I'm more leaning towards, but overall, I think there's a lot of issues with some of these coaches that they've listed.
I feel like a lot of them were guys who were coming off like losing campaigns, or had no business coaching an MLS team.
It's like if we hired Gary Smith again.
Yeah, I can. There actually are a couple on there that I'm like, oh, that's another Gary Smith that I don't want. And in fact, we can even point some of those out. They had Bruce Arena on there. Bruce Arena was the one who left. He was most recently with New England Revolution last year, and they fired him for that reason.
The funny thing about Bruce Arena
involved with that.
No, here's a funny. Sorry to cut you off, but here's a funny thing about Bruce Arena. Yeah. I actually like that name. I feel like he, because of his his tenure as a U.S. coach, 5 MLS titles, World Cup quarterfinal. Overall, like he is he's got the experience that I want, but because of whatever happened at New England. I don't know if it was like racist remarks. We don't know. No one knows. I'm not throwing it out there. We just know that he made some insensitive and not appropriate remarks.
Yep.
Because of that, I'm like, I can't have him here.
Exactly. It's a culture thing. But I also think it's hilarious they got Wayne Rooney on there for DC, and he was awful at DC. In fact, he went to, I think, Birmingham City after that. And
stunk it up there.
Birmingham City there, and lasted only 15 games. Before being fired. And I'm like, why in the world would you have them on the list? But I do agree with Austin where there are some bright lights. I feel like there are some bright lights on this particular list. So Tunji, you said you liked Bruce Torino on that list. I mean, and you kind of spoke to it just there, but what's another name on the list that you saw that you really do think that could be a solid option for us?
Man, you're asking me. I'm picking through scraps here, bro. Like I'm picking through absolute scraps. I'm gonna stick to my guns, man. There's not a name on this list that I like. That I would honestly.
Is there a name not on the list that you like?
No, I don't think the head coach that I'm looking for exists right now. I'll give you an outline of my head coach.
He might be on FIFA, and that's about it.
I'm the head coach on FIFA.
There you go.
That's me. Put me in charge of this team, and I'll take us places. All right. Look, I just want to say this. I want to say this, and I'll get it out of the way. In periods where there is no leadership, society stands still. Harry S. Truman. Okay. What I need right now, because of the 7 years, 6.5, whatever it was that I spent with Gary Smith, I do have an attachment to Gary Smith. I didn't necessarily hate him at his lowest, and I didn't truly love him that much at his highs, but I thought he was a good, stable coach for us coming into the league. What I need now is a proven veteran as coach. Someone who can help transform Nashville's attack into something that is a little bit more free flowing. Right, not so predictable, not so rigid as it sometimes feels, or even like the bad type of chaotic. I need someone who doesn't look at the MLS as a numbers game, that just get into playoff contention. That was my biggest issue with Gary.
I mean, I feel like you have a solid, former striker on that list who very much has that mindset of opening up the front attack, I'm sure. And
who is that?
Henry.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
this is the reason why I didn't.
And he's your boy too. He's an Arsenal guy.
He's an Arsenal man. This man is not coming to. It's like, yeah, this is a wish list, but I'm trying to be realistic here. There's no way he's come. One of the biggest reasons that
he played in the MLS
left
for 3 years.
He played in MLS and hated
there,
it, and hated every moment of it, bro. He needs to stay close to home. That's the biggest thing. Everyone knows that with Thierry, right? One of the reasons he left Montreal is because he was dealing with mental health issues. And also mental health issues. He's talked about it live. I'm not going to take this man who has played in the heights of European football, heights of world football, and plop him in Nashville. It's not a good fit. Even if he is a good coach, it's not a good fit.
Yeah, and it points back to what Mike Jacobs said. It's not just about finding the right coach. It's about finding the right coach for Nashville. And I actually do think that there's somebody on the list. And it's actually kind of opposite of how Tunji is feeling. Is I'm not sure we go with the proven head coach, the guy that's done this before, because a lot of the guys who have done it before, it's in the past. Gary had done it before. And that's not what I'm looking for, is the guys where their time has passed. I'm looking for the up and comers who might make a splash, guys who people aren't expecting, guys who can come in and actually make waves. And one of the names on this list that I said last week is Ben Pierman. It's a guy who is USL Coach of the Year with Memphis in 22. It's a guy who is now with the Charleston Battery and is looking good. They were runners up last year in the USL finals. And so with a guy like that, now he hasn't dipped his foot in, the top flight. He's not the guy who's stepping in and saying, like, I've done this before. However, if you look at a couple of the guys who have come in and have made those splashes, what's his name with just looking at other leagues with the Celtics? He was 33 whenever he got his first head coaching job with the Celtics, and now look at what they've done these past few years. You look at Mike Sullivan with the Penguins. He was the AHL head coach when he became Penguins. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups and is now coaching Team USA. And so when you look at some of these coaches who haven't had the experience that you might want, I encourage you to look at some of those coaches who might be up and comers that can make big waves.
I mean, solid options. I honestly do think, unlike where Tunji's at, I think the coach does exist for Nashville. I don't disagree that Ben Pierman could be a solid option for that. Not just because I'm a Memphis 901 FC guy, but also because, we need to dare to do more. We need to dare to do a big step forward. And that could easily be, something to do.
Well, and talking about big steps, some of the more unhinged of our fan base on Twitter well, let me just start here. They've gotten Mike Jacob or Ian Ayers, not Ian Ayers, the Ingram family jet number, and have started tracking his jet.
Oh no.
And one thing with that they seem to say, and this is coming from the more troll side of our community, love of course. But they seem to believe that the next head coach is either coming out of Chicago or is going to be our next head coach is going to be the assistant coach of the U.S. men's national team, BJ Callahan, who is on that list.
I could see that.
Yeah,
but
who you could bro.
It's not what I want, but I could see it.
So that's the thing. I'm like, it sounds on paper. BJ Callahan sounds like
I talked to Ian this last week. He's a Liverpool guy, so we were at the Liverpool watch party, and I just kind of said, I was like, hey, Klopp's available now. He goes,
oh my god,
he said Klopp's on his list.
Oh
Ian Ayer straight up said that Klopp is on his list. So,
Klopp's on everyone's list. He's taking a break from football right now.
That would be a madness to not have Klopp on your list. You see the kind of reception he got, the send-off he got, bro.
I'm a Bayern Munich fan. Tuchel is leaving and Klopp's on our list, but it's not happening. I'm a realist,
bro.
Too.
Exactly.
Insane. Well,
but going back to
doing what they've done, There's also just tons going in. But yes, Tunji.
Going back to BJ Callahan real quick, because I do want to address that. It sounds like a good pickup, but maybe this is what you're talking about, Austin, where it's like, hey, go with the unproven, go with someone new. I mean, this guy hasn't coached an MLS team. Correct. I think that MLS is a different beast. You know, we've seen it. Championship coaches come over and struggle. Coaches from other leagues come in and struggle. So it's one of these things where when I say I want someone who is a proven vet, it's because of how much of a different style of play, different style of league.
It's a lot of those CONCACAF players. You know, it's a little bit chippier. Yeah. It's a little, you know, yeah, definitely.
Well, there is plenty more coming up. I know we do have more games coming up this weekend, but we want to make sure to thank you guys for jumping in. Austin, why don't you just go ahead and take us out, man?
All right, guys. Well, this is going to wrap another episode 30. We are getting into where our metabolism slows down, as I know firsthand. So, but guys, we've got a Way Watch party coming up this Saturday at Southside Kitchen and Pub, 6 o'clock. It is Club du Foot Montreal. Hopefully we'll see another Hattie from our Super Sam. You know, we'll see what's happening there. But guys, thank you for listening. We couldn't do it without you guys. A big shout out to Doug. I know we always shout him out, but he deserves probably more praise than we give him for all that he does for this podcast, guys. So definitely give him a shout out if you were on the comments and everything. But guys, we want you to lock in. Hit us up at Mixtape 615. We talked about the fun time that we had last night with trivia with the guys from the club. So those are some of the So those are some of the the opportunities rather. Hit us up at Mixtape 615 and on all of our socials. Hit us up Instagram, Facebook, X, all of that. Find us at Mixtape 615. And for all of our video content, hit us up at Mixtape 615 Pod on YouTube. And guys, keep it real, keep it vibing like Tunji with the hat. Until next episode, Mixtape 615 signing off.
Let's go.